So as a science teacher in a middle school classroom, one of the opportunities that I have is students who speak a language other than English as their primary language are mainstreamed into my classroom for instruction. And I think that's a neat opportunity because I get a chance to meet a diverse population of students that I wouldn't otherwise be able to meet. However, it can be an instructional challenge because most of the students who don't speak English as their primary language can struggle with the academic vocabulary in my science classroom. I teach a vocabulary heavy content area, and when students aren't able to understand the language that I'm delivering instruction in, that can make understanding the content in my classroom challenging. Now, a student of mine and I were experimenting yesterday, and we discovered that Google Meet will now do live translation of English into 4 other languages. It'll translate English into Spanish or French or Portuguese or German. Now, for me, the majority of my non-native English speakers are Spanish speakers, so that Spanish live translation is really valuable. Now, let me show you the process that we use. So both my student and I keep our computers open for the entire class period. And at the beginning of each class period, we both join a Google Meet together. Most of the time, it's only him and I in the Google Meet. Now, other students could join it. There's not really any problem with that. But remember that my primary purpose is to provide my student with translated instruction, English into Spanish. So I only really need my Spanish speakers to be with me in the Google Meet. And so we both enter Google Classroom. I happen to have a Meet link turned on there so that we can just click the join button at the beginning of every class. Now, you can create a Google Meet in other ways, and that's perfectly fine to do. If you have your own process for creating a Google Meet, go for it. But I like to just turn on the link in Google Classroom. That way, both the student and I can easily find the Google Meet to join. Once we land on this window, pretty much everybody in America knows what to do, right? Like click the Join Now button. If you've taught through the pandemic at all, like this is second nature. There's nothing new here. Now, here is the new step you need to take. At the bottom of your screen, you're going to see 3 dots stacked on top of each other. That's the More Options section that you get inside of Google Meet. Now, when you click on those options, you're going to be tempted to select Captions right here from this menu. Because if you think about it, that's what you're trying to provide. You're trying to provide captions in another language. That's actually not the button you'd want to click, though. If you just want to provide captions to your student in English, then you, by all means, go ahead and select that option. What we really want to do, though, is translate English instruction into Spanish. So what we need to do is we need to select the Settings button from the bottom of the screen, and then we need to choose Captions on the left-hand side of the window, and then we need to tick both of these buttons to the On position. The top feature is telling Google that we would like captions to appear in this Google Meet. The bottom button is telling Google that we'd like those captions to be translated into Spanish. Of course, if you wanted to translate into German or Portuguese or French, you would select the drop-down menu here and change your language. But for me, I obviously want my translation to be into Spanish because that's the primary language spoken by most of my English as a second language students. Now, during the course of class, my student keeps his Google Meet open and on his desk. And while he's listening to my instruction, he can follow along on the screen to see my instruction in his own language. Now, I do want to remind you that my student needs to also turn on those same caption settings. So it's not just me that has to sign in and choose the 3 dots and select Settings, followed by Captions, followed by these 2 tick boxes. My student needs to do those things too. But once that's finished, which really is an easy process, he can now follow along in my instruction in his own language, which I think is a huge support. It's a nice scaffold to provide for him as he's working to learn English over the course of the next year. Now, I do have one additional tip that I'll share with you. I've started to wear a wireless Bluetooth earbud in my ear during class. And the reason for that is because then I don't need to be near the microphone in order for my instruction to be picked up. I can walk around the room and instruct as I normally would without having to be anchored behind my desk. If I didn't wear my wireless earbud, I would have to stay close to my computer so that my voice could be picked up by the built-in microphone on the computer. But by pairing a Bluetooth headset and wearing that Bluetooth headset in my ear, wearing one of those earbuds, the mic is always close by, which means that I can move around the room and my student can still see translation in his language. Does that all make sense to you? It's something I'm pretty excited about. My student is too. I get chills because he came up to me at the end of class and he thanked me for figuring this out. And he said, now I can finally understand. It's really cool. It's a neat day. All right, talk to you soon. Hope that helps you.